Building basketball chemistry with strangers. I'm Tony. Welcome back to Streetball Strategies.
Let's get it, let's get it. I'm going all and you know I stay ballin'. I'm going all and you know I stay ballin'. I'm going all and you know I stay ballin'. I'm going all and you know I stay ballin'.
Today we're talking about teammate chemistry, how to build it with your teammates, specifically with strangers. And the example I'm going to use today is the extreme example of you show up to a court that you've never been to before, and you're playing with strangers that you've never met, never played with before, and everybody is strangers. Nobody's friends with anybody, nobody knows anybody, you're all strangers. Now, when basketball players usually think about team chemistry, they think about the end result, which is like, you know each other, you know what each other's going to do, you know, you always have a feel for where they're gonna be and what they're gonna do, and you already know it in your mind, what's going to happen. And while yes, that's true, and that is what team chemistry is, that's the end result, right? Today we're talking about how to build it from scratch with strangers at a place you've never been to before. I wanna cover two main basic components of team chemistry. The first component being assumptions, assuming things. When you come right down to it, team chemistry is all about making assumptions. Even in the end result, where you think you know your teammate, what they're gonna do, where they're gonna be, even then, because you're not literally reading their minds, you don't literally know where they're gonna be or what they're going to do. You're just assuming. You're making assumptions based on history. In this scenario where new court, new people, complete strangers, you have no history to draw those assumptions from. So in order to start making those assumptions and for those assumptions to be as correct as possible, in order to do that, you have to start profiling people. You have to start making judgments on people. And I know that in today's society, judging a book by its cover or profiling people is severely frowned upon. People think that if you profile someone or you judge a book by its cover when you're looking at somebody, that makes you a mean, bad person. That's completely false. It's completely incorrect. You judge people, you profile people all day, every day. You judge and profile everything, anything that's unfamiliar to you. As soon as you encounter it, as soon as you're aware of it, automatically, it's human nature, you start profiling it, you start judging it, not because you're trying to be mean, but because you're trying to gather information that you don't yet have. So in order to do that, you start making assumptions about that thing. For example, if you're showing up to a court you've never been to before, and you're looking around, you might want to decide before you actually start participating on that court, is that court safe? But you don't know whether or not it's safe because you've never been there before. So when you show up, what do? You start profiling, you start judging, you look around, situational awareness, what's going on, who's here, what does it appear to be like? And then you make the assumption, the judgment, the profile assessment, is that park safe or not? So in order to build team chemistry with players, people that you've never met before, and everybody's a stranger to everybody, there's gonna have to be a whole lot of assuming that goes on. Specifically, it's gonna have to be about what kind of personality does that person have. I say that because it's easier to look at a person, assume what kind of personality they have, profile them, right? Because usually, and I'm sure there are exceptions to this, but usually a person's personality off the court, even though at the time you're profiling them on the court, but a person's personality usually directly correlates to what kind of basketball player they are or would be. So because you don't know them, now you're gonna have to make assumptions about, okay, I think they're this kind of person, which means they're gonna be this kind of basketball player. The better you understand how to do that, the better you understand human behavior, human personality, the better you're going to understand how to make correct assumptions about those personalities, thus making it able for you to have better, more accurate assumptions when it comes to what kind of basketball players they're going to be. Judging people, profiling people, being aware of what's going on around you and then making assumptions about that stuff is not a bad thing. Just don't be a jerk about it. The second main component, basic component to building team chemistry with strangers is having a rapport with them, building a rapport, letting them know that they can trust you as a teammate, and you building the trust in them that as a teammate you trust them as well. And for simplicity's sake, I break this down into 3 segments, 3 levels if you will. Let's start with the level that you as a viewer of this channel probably are, which is you're probably, if you're watching this channel, a beginner basketball player. You're trying to build your basketball career and legacy out here at the park. And so if you're at the beginning of your career, that means you're probably going to be the low man on the totem pole. You're probably going to have less experience, skill, and ability than most of the players out here. And when your teammates are just better players than you, that automatically makes you a follower, and that's perfectly fine. At this level, your job is to be a good follower, which will make you a good teammate, which will build good team chemistry. The way to be a good follower is to let them take the lead. They set the game plan, they set the strategy, and then it's on you to follow that to the best of your ability. If they ask you or tell you to do stuff that you don't know how to do, ask. Say, I don't understand how to do that. I don't know what you're talking about. Can you show me, tell me how to do that? Don't be afraid to sound ignorant. They, as a good leader, should be able to understand where you're coming from and then be able to teach you and instruct you on the fly. You want to build good team chemistry, own up to the fact that you're a beginner, you're a follower, and be the best follower you can be. And if they ask you or tell you to do something that you're just not that good at yet, that's okay. They don't expect perfection from you, but what they do expect is effort. So even if what they're asking you to do, you're not that good at yet, the main factor that's going to build team chemistry is your effort in trying to do what they ask you to do. If you make it apparent to them that you're trying as hard as you can, then that's going to show them that you are trying as hard as you can to help them win, thus making you a good follower and thus making good team chemistry. Now, if the situation is reversed and you are the leader, you're the more experienced, better player on the team, now it's on you to be a good leader. You being a good team leader will instill good team chemistry in the rest of your team. That means it's on you to figure out the game plan and the strategy and to communicate it clearly and directly to your teammates. Let them know what you expect from them. And then if they have questions, if they don't understand, it's on you to teach them how to do what you're asking them to do. When those less experienced, less skilled teammates, when they mess up, and they will, don't get on them, don't badger them, don't bully them, just correct them. Be direct and be firm, but don't be a jerk about it. Just correct them. Let them know if you do this way, that's the correct way, and that will allow us to be more successful. And then when those lesser players do things well, especially things that you instructed them to do or how to do, let them know you recognize that they did that correctly and give them props for doing so. The better of a team leader you are, the better team chemistry you're going to have. The third level to building team chemistry is, what if all of you are kind of on the same playing field, meaning you all seem to have the same amount of experience, skill, and ability. If everything seems to be even with all of you and your teammates, now it becomes kind of confusing, because this is not a democracy at this point. Because remember, you're not friends with them. You don't know them. If you were friends with them, if you already did have rapport built with them, history with them, then it could be more of a democracy. But with complete strangers, that's not gonna work. Trust me, I've been there dozens and dozens of times. It has to be a dictatorship. somebody has to take the lead, and the rest of y'all have to follow that leadership. If being the leader falls onto you, well, now it's your responsibility to be a good leader so that you can build rapport and good team chemistry. Just like I just said, that means you have to have a game plan, you have to have a strategy and communicate it clearly. If you don't actually have a plan, you should not be the leader, because you need to be able to answer questions that your teammates may have in terms of how and why we're doing what you're telling us to do. The main thing to keep in mind is you're trying to be a good teammate. All of you have the same goal. You're trying to win this game. You're all strangers. You're all playing against strangers. So now the best thing you can do is to be good teammates to each other and keep that one goal in mind. So if you're a follower and you don't like the plan or the strategy that's been set in place for you, that's fine. You don't have to like it, but you do have to execute it to the best of your ability. If you're the leader and your strategy isn't working and it's clear to all of your teammates that it's failing, then you need to be able to make adjustments on the fly and start turning things around. If you can't do that, if you don't know how to do that, then you may need to relinquish your leadership to someone else. Now, if nobody else wants to be the leader or no one else is capable of being the leader, then really, then now failure is going to be your best teacher. You're going to have to fail together and hopefully learn from that. And from that, you'll be able to learn how to build team chemistry together from learning from what you did wrong and then getting better. Regardless of whether or not you fail, keep in mind, you're trying to be a good teammate. Part of being a good teammate means you're enjoying your experience together. You're just playing with strangers that you've never played with before. They are trying to enjoy their time as well. And one of the best ways to do that is by being one cohesive unit and playing together as a team with good team chemistry. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, if you like this kind of content, these kinds of topics, that's amazing. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel. Because this channel is still small, I like to discuss at the end of the videos that I'm aware that it's a small channel. I'm aware that we talk about weird, obscure things that other basketball channels don't talk about. Because this is not a mainstream basketball channel that talks about drills and workouts, I expect there to be less of an audience. I expect there to be less subscribers. So that's why when you guys subscribe to the channel and keep coming back, know that I genuinely appreciate it. Also, like, share, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Every time you do, you're going to be notified every single video that goes live on this channel. Comment down below what you think about building team chemistry, and I'll see you guys next week.
Stay applying pressure, you already know how we play. Every time I step in, I deserve an instant replay. Get right to it, we ain't dealing with no delay. About to run this thing like a relay. You know it, baby. That's right. Enjoy the ride. Look at the crowd. They going wild. Look at me now. I'm on smiles. No sweat. Don't need a towel. I'm a big mood. I'm a big mood. You can't name a lot of things that I didn't do. Stacking paper like a book, not a Kindle. You outdated, I'm the one they getting into, and I don't break a sweat. Let's get it.